Okay, I'm also shooting this video today for you to really give you a fresh perspective on reverse step-ups for the knee and show you again how anyone can get into this. So let's take a look. There's 3 different styles. I don't want to lose you on the styles. Just know I'll explain why there's 3 styles, but the subject itself, even if you only worked one of the styles, you still get 90% of the benefit. But basically, if you stood on something a centimeter high and you step forward in front and you hold the top, you're strengthening your knee. The key is just that the butt finishes in front of your heel. So if you were to step down like this, that wouldn't work the knee. You see that? So to work my right knee, so that's why if the hip bends, it's not actually strengthening your knee. So the butt, this is why always send me a side angle on the form. But this, I'm doing a reverse step up, I'm strengthening. Now there are 2 other styles, and I like to vary them up, and it's my job to tell you how high and when to progress. But basically, if you elevate your heel with something solid, you'll see how that forces more bend to the knee. So I'm gonna have to make sure I stay hip width so that I'm not stepping down to the platform, I'm actually stepping down to the floor. So just by using some Olympic plates, I'm able to create a pretty good platform for myself here. And just like with the first exercise, adding height makes it harder. So adding height, anyone can do this. If you can walk, you can do a reverse step up at some height. But by making it higher, you put more on your knee, and that's why you do the exercise, you let it recover. This is like doing push-ups, curls, but for your knees. You're actually training your knees. So then the higher you go up, while still keeping form, the harder it gets. And with the kind where your heel is elevated, the higher you make your, so say we had it here, brought some more plates out. Now by elevating that surface and that surface, boom, now you'll see that my knee is forced to bend even more. So this is going to require even more strengthening. Okay? And then to show you the third and final style is basically where you're standing on your surface, but you actually lift your own heel. So what's the purpose? Why are there 3 styles? Well, for some people, they won't really feel it. If they just do step-ups like this, they won't feel it enough in the muscle. But if they elevate, even if it's right off the floor, if they elevate their heel, then it forces the weight onto the ball of the foot, and it forces you, it makes it harder not to bend your knee. So this style right like this is the most directly just to isolate right here. Is where, whether it's off the floor or whether you start to elevate a little bit or whether you elevate a lot, this style where the heel is held up is the most direct, pure isolation for these. And then what it does when you keep your heel down is you actually, because you can add weights in your hands or you can add weight with a bar. When you keep your heel down, it actually works on that ankle mobility. So you can see here, I'll angle to the side, but the higher you go, you can get world-class ankle mobility just from working, centimeter by centimeter on your reverse step up. So you could have the strongest muscles here in the world, but in an actual game, if you go to jump and you don't have the ankle mobility, then your whole mechanics will be very stiff. You'll be too stiff and tall without those ankles being able to bend. If you go to make a crossover move and the ankle's locked up there and you can't let it sit. Same with your jump. When you go into a jump, The back leg is there, getting you ready for the front leg, even with 2-foot jumping. So that the more loose the ankles, the more the heels can stay down, the more in the real world you can actually use your quads. And then the third style, where you actually lift your own heel. So by lifting your own heel, at first the balance seems tougher, but putting the weight on the ball of the foot, this makes sure that your actual foot muscle and calf muscle are strong enough compared to this muscle. So we don't want just strong knees and no lower leg strength. So by lifting your own heel without the manual elevation, now I'm having to make sure my calf muscle, so I'll do this exercise, I weigh 80 kilos, I'll put 80 kilos on my back and go up on the ball of my foot on a box about this high. So I'll go here, push through the ball of the foot, push through the ball of the foot. So you can see it's pretty simple math, but this simple stuff and working at it consistently and training it, I train it as hard as I can. The same way the guy obsessed with his bench press trains his bench press, I train my knees like this, and I've more than doubled my jump, stuck at 19 inches for my whole life, and now climbing up over 40-inch vertical, and my knees, basketball is an absolute joke for my knees. Basketball for my knees is for someone else like taking a walk. That's how easy the game is on my knees, because the muscles, I just train, I didn't used to have any muscles around them, but I just train these muscles around the knees so much, and then I have the ankle flexibility and the foot strength to match my knees. So on the court, I'm never, if the ankles are weak or tight, then too much force comes up. So I already have the first initial impacts I'm absorbing really well with my feet and with my flexibility, and then as it comes up through the knees, it's very smooth, and so it puts rockets